Good morning, everyone. Wanted to give it a little 5-second pause so that there wouldn't be any clipping of my voice and stuff like that. Let me see what's going on here. All right, everybody, Tango update. Before I give you that, stay tuned for the rest of the story. I covered Richard and Trevor moving on with their lives. Just beyond that, I'm going to say probably about 2.5 weeks ago, calamity struck. Hey, Ian, how's it going? So here's what happened. Let me take you about 2 weeks back into the not so recent past. Alden was down here, right down there on the floor, screaming for Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Couldn't figure out what was going on with them, and I panicked. I called the 911, and the ambulance came out and got him. And of course, with the flu pandemic that's going on, all of the hospitals were busy and occupied. It was our intention to take him to the Malvis exit, which is a new standalone emergency room for Thomas Hospital. And as we did that, he was en route, in transit. And I guess the one that was in the back of the vehicle, because I don't think the one driving would have made a phone call. But the gentleman that was in the back of the ambulance called me and said, we're redirecting to Baldwin, South Baldwin Hospital. And I said, why? And he said, well, Mr. Queener had a cardiac event. And threw Hope and I both for a back loop because we did not know what was going on with him, because he was grabbing his abdomen. He was really in a lot of pain. I couldn't even begin to imagine what was going on with him, but at that time we thought he was having problems because he's got Crohn's disease. So, that affects the abdomen, that affects the stomach and all that kind of stuff. So we didn't know really, honestly and truly, what was going on with him. So, in short, when he got to South Baldwin Hospital, we got there just a few minutes after he was there. And the cardiac event that he had was indeed a stroke. So, or excuse me, not a stroke. They said heart attack. So, Alden actually had a heart attack. Turns out, after 2 days of being in the ER, not the ER for 2 days, but I mean, he did spend a significant amount of time in the ER, but I'm not sure exactly how much time, but it was over 8 hours. But they got him into a room and they said, let's see, pancreas? No. Appendix? No. What's the other? Gallbladder. So they didn't know what was going on with him because he was so inflamed, and all that inflammation caused that cardiac event. So 2 days later, we get a phone call. They're going to take his appendix out. As a matter of fact, he was already in surgery when we got the phone call. So they ended up taking out his appendix, and that's what was giving him so much grief. What's really crazy and shocking is that had they waited any longer, the sac around the appendix could have ruptured. So everybody knows that the appendix doesn't do anything in the body, but it can kill you. So they removed that, and he is all better. And we have been kind of like in the last few days, I'm going to say the last 3 or 4 days, I have not allowed him to work because I'm not going to uh, sleep well, knowing that anything that he does around here could possibly trigger another event. So he is on the rebound. He's recovering. I wish it was daylight out because you guys could see the little pull behind travel trailer that he purchased. And that was before everything went down. So anyway, I've talked about Richard and Trevor before in a previous video. If you have not seen that, go ahead and go back to the last live stream where I've talked about Trevor and Richard. Trevor is working at a car lot, and Richard is doing odd jobs for Go Forth Media and his grandfather, Brad. So, not just too long after that, we had a cold hard freeze, and that cold hard freeze puts black ice on the road. And yes, that affects us down here in Alabama, so much to the point that I'm actually going to take you outside here in a few minutes and let you guys see what happened to my truck. I was trying, I don't know, if you've ever watched a mother try to feed her child, she's over there looking at her child and she's going from the bowl to the baby's mouth, and watch my mouth, and they're going like that, and they're helping their baby eat their food. What's funny is that that applies to a lot of other things in life. So as I am watching the vehicle in front of me spin, I'm trying to help them put on the brakes. And as I am doing that, my foot gets heavier on the brake, and next thing you know, I break traction. So I'm careening forward at about 10 miles an hour, trying to keep my truck under control, and it found a tree off in the ditch. So I'm, trying to keep this poor little Dodge Dakota on the road, and it finds a tree. All right, let me turn the camera around. Take you outside here. It is nice and cold out here. And the good and fortunate thing is there is enough light out here to see just exactly what's going on. If I waited till the sun came up, that would be my reflection. And that is what happened to the truck. So apparently, I pissed the tree off. All right, going back inside. All right, turn the camera back around. There we are. Okay, but anyway, on the jobs that we're doing right now, there is still the 45-foot Sportcraft fishing boat Cabo. The 34 Ford is done, and we're just kind of, moving through our jobs. This on the table right here is the Eastern Shore Toyota dealership, and we are putting, you see that's the old red fabric right there, the back side of the old fabric, which is really nasty on the front side. This is the new fabric that we got to put on them. All right, let me fix my camera. So what am I going to do with the truck? I am going to fix it. I actually have a parts truck. I have a Dodge Durango, and it's red. It's not blue. So we're going to take it to Holland's 251 Design, and we're going to have them change out all the parts that are all mauled up. The bumper, the valance, the inside wheel well, the front quarter. So I've got a lot to do with that. After all that is finished, then I've got to do something with the bed. So how am I going to do all this? Right now we're using Alden's car to get to everywhere that we have to go. And I not so recently found a truck on Craigslist for $3,800 over there in Louisiana. And that is a 05 Ram pickup 4-door black. And that is going to be my wife's truck. And I am going to continue driving the Dakota for now. And that's just, just for now. Because what we want to do is we want to make the black truck in Louisiana, Hope's truck, a showpiece to, number one, display the working capabilities of CoverCats. Our, unique interior is going to go into this truck. It is not a Roush truck. It is not a Hennessy truck. It is not a performance truck. But when we're done with it, it's going to look like a performance truck. When you open up the doors, you're going to see a new interior on it. And of course, we're going to have to do that in our off time. But for the meantime, all the other jobs that we've got going on, I am still trying to pull the trigger officially on the Tango. And I think we've been able to do that. So officially, the Tango is on the job board. We're going to be moving forward on that so that Matt can have it for the springtime. Other than that, any thing else that we've got going on is pretty much still playing catch up. Still trying to catch up on everything. I know that I was watching one of Matt's live streams and someone had asked whether or not we are still doing the Tango, and yes, we are. So I want to let you guys rest assured that the Tango is going to get done. We have to pull a few strings here and there, make room, make allowance, and make time for that to happen. It will be after hours, of course, so that the business can stay open. We have to basically be able to keep money flowing and everything so that we can keep the doors open here at the shop. Ian, you got any questions or anything like that while you're here, bro? Bear with me, I'll be right back. Oh. Have to get my coffee, guys. Just listening while I head into work. Cool. Cool. Well, I will tell you on the job with the Cabo, we're almost finished with that thing. And then he throws a curveball. He wants to do the... Most boats have this clear plastic that has horseshoe zippers that you can roll up. High-end boats have a clear plastic that is rigid. You cannot roll them up. But they act like windscreens, and of course they keep the water off of, when water crests over the bow when you're in high seas, it basically just, it gets, look at this, poor connection. But anyway, as a result, if you don't have these in place, you can get soaking wet. So those have to be made. And then he wants what they call a cockpit cover. So the cockpit cover wraps around the back transom of the boat when it's not in use. And he wants triangular wedges that are going to be clear to be added to the existing. And I'm going to try and see if I can illustrate this the best way I can. Got to get a marking device. And I'm going to make the back side of a boat, Eden. If you're watching or listening, pay attention to the road. Don't go off the road or anything. All right. I'm not going to show the entire boat, but I will show the water line. And I will show the back side of the boat with the towers. And I will show the fight chair. And let's just start with that. All right. Fight chair, rear transom of the boat. Also, this is part of the tower. So I'm going to show from that point to the rear. You all know that most boats like this have what they call rocket launchers, or a place for you to set your fishing pole while you're underway. Now, beyond that, they want a cover to go from that point to the back of the transom. Now, when it is in the in-use position, let's draw all that again. Show the water line, show the tower, show the fight chair, show the rocket launcher. In its in-use position, you would have a vertical pole, and I'm going to write that in right now for you. The vertical pole will support this in its upward position. That's the vertical pole right there. Okay. So that vertical pole will hold this, what they call a cockpit cover. You would see this in its up position, and it acts like an awning to keep direct sunlight off of you. All right, so I've got to make a cover shaped in a triangle in that clear plastic, that hard rigid plastic. And then when it's in the up position deployed, I've got to make a tent, okay, which will zip to this portion right here. So you're gonna basically see, let me pencil it in. And this little cover right here is going to basically on the back side have an arc in it to repel water in the rain and stuff like that, in case they get off the boat and forget to put everything away, which I don't think is going to happen, because you're supposed to always have a good first mate and a captain. This dotted line will represent what needs to be done. So after this one is installed, I have to create a zipper so that this portion right here, that'll be going up towards the top, right here, those two pieces right there will section and zip together so that they will have a nice closed environment for rain. Who in the world would go out there in the rain? I have no idea, but you have to plan for contingencies. And so therefore, if you're out there and all of a sudden, stormy weather comes, and you never know. I always say funny things about Alabama weather. If you don't like the weather, just wait 10 minutes. So again, if you're out there on the Gulf and you don't know if you have inclement weather or not, most of the time the broadcasting service that they have for marine uh, people will let you know or give you a heads up well in advance to give you time to deploy such things like this rear transom uh, fight deck. Let me call it the right thing. Cockpit cover tent. And that's basically what it's going to be, as a cockpit cover tent. What does that mean monetarily? It means $16,000, roughly. And that was before I even got involved in looking at the cockpit cover, the cockpit cover tent. That was long before I even got involved in that. Now we are at $22,000. So we've got to create the glass solutions, or glass solutions that are going around the front of the windshield, going around the sides, and then now after the cockpit cover is made and fabricated, then we have to put zippers in it and incorporate it to where it can zip in any position, which I can do that because I got it like that. I've been doing this for a while. So we're going to create something, and then to top everything off, after all this is said and done, once everything is complete and finalized, hopefully around March, the end of March, Marlin Magazine is going to come out and do an article on this boat. That's kind of scary. Well, no, it's not either, because midway during this job, I was told that Marlin Magazine's going to be doing an article on this, and I really wanted to know this going into the job, because if I had known that, I probably would have shunned away from the job and not even taken it, because I don't like being under a microscope. But now that I am under a microscope, it forces me to raise the quality of my work to a higher standard, the highest standard. So it forces me to pick everything apart with the microscope. And it is an enormous amount of pressure alongside everything else that's going on with Alden, with the truck, with Hope's truck, and all the other things that we've got going on, plus the Tango. So we've got a lot on our plate, but it's nothing that we can't handle. The Lord won't give you anything more than you can handle. But all that being said, I am diligently trying to muscle in, and I have to muscle this job in for the Tango. I've got to force this job in, so that I've got to force it into the schedule, the off-time schedule, so that we can get it done. So after, dinner and a nice hot shower and everything, while I'm winding down, I will be sitting and watching TV on that TV right there. You can't see. On that TV right there. And working on that Tango so that I can get it finished for Matt. This is my wintertime job. I am not going to be in a big hurry to do this, because it has to be done right, and my level of expertise has jumped up exponentially. I've got to bring up my standards so that, number one, this is the best interior for any Tango on the planet, because this is going to be a high visibility. A lot of people are going to have their eyes on this Tango, and I want Matt's job to be done right. He has taken us, he's taken well care of us, and I couldn't ask for a better person to do this job for. So if you guys are watching this stream afterwards and after the fact, I appreciate you, and please bear with me. We will be doing a video series on the Tango that's probably going to involve my tripod sitting on the other end of the table, right just over there, as my sewing machine is right over here. And so a lot of the work that I'm going to be doing on the Tango is going to be shown right here underneath the needle of the sewing machine, so that you guys can go along and follow us right along as we are putting it together. So, and I told you there's a lot of adjustments that have to be made to the foam. We are also buying foam. I've already got a few components, but I need to buy some more foam. I need to get some more black material. The blue thread is here. The embroidery is here, and there's no reason why we cannot move forward on this during off after hours. So it'll be an after hours job as we move through these winter months, and hopefully by spring, around the end of March, beginning of April, these will be done and already in Matt's possession, along with the video series that you guys can watch after I upload them. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and bump out of here. I've got some things to do. It's around 10 minutes till 7. I've got to get my if I'm saying it's 10 minutes to 7 and you guys are actually seeing 15 minutes to 7, it's because my clocks are fast. I keep them that way. Something my mom used to do. But anyway, I love you guys, and like Matt says, as always, thanks for watching.